Hi guys, so this video is really just a rant of me getting super mad at my Glow period tracker. I still use it, but I no longer use it for prediction purposes and to try to see when my ovulation is going to occur. Now the second my period ends, I just start taking OPKs, which are the ovulation strips. Just start taking them like crazy. If you're curious, I use these pregnant ones. They came in like a box with pregnancy tests and ovulation tests. So I've got a big box of them and I just use that. For the most part, it's been helpful for me to be able to test for my ovulation every day, more so than it was ever to put anything into the tracking app. The app itself would and still does try to give me predictions of when things are going to work out, like within this current week it's even done that, and it doesn't always end up that way. So I just wanted to make comment on that and just say these are my honest first feelings the very beginning of using this period tracking app. I do still use it for tracking purposes. It's helpful for me so that I don't have to personally chart everything down, and I know that there's good apps out there. I just haven't taken the time to go about downloading them. I kind of lazy in that way. I know I probably should get a better app. I've heard that Clue is a way better app than Glow. So, but for now, this isn't a product placement or anything like this. This is just an honest review of everything. This is just my frustrations about my tracker not working properly and not really giving me a accurate idea. After this happened, I did go get more OPKs to start testing for LH every day, and I got like a big cheap box because getting the first responses were just simply not working for me. They were too much money, and even the clear blue digitals were too much money to get a box of them, and now I've got a bunch of them, and I even worry sometimes about if I will use them up before that time comes, which is really silly considering that I would like it to happen sooner rather than later at this point. So yeah, I guess I've kind of changed my tune a little bit now that we're 10 months TTC, and it's kind of difficult, but this is where we were at. This is April 13th, 2018. I recorded this video and I was very, very frustrated, so I apologize in advance for any of my crude language. I think those who know me in person know that I don't always know when I'm cussing like a sailor, so that's sometimes just how it is, especially when I'm giving a very emotional response. But I do hope you enjoy the video and you get something out of my review. And for those of you that know me personally and are watching this, I hope that honestly you kind of see why I would be frustrated with that and kind of just empathize with me a little bit. But well, I am going to get to the video now, so enjoy. Hi, I just wanted to kind of vlog today because I had something to say. So I am using this period tracker and it's called Glow, and currently from my the first day of my last period, this is what my period looks like. So you can see this pink part is all my period. It started on the 20th and went to the 25th, and then down here, I don't know if you can see it very well. Down here, there's all these green parts. It's kind of flipped around, but all these green parts. And that's supposed to be the week of my fertile window. Now, originally, so now, right now, on April 13th, 2018, it says that I should have ovulated on the 12th, and my fertile window started on the 7th. But previous to that, it told me that my fertile window started on the 30th, and so that was originally showing up green, and now it's showing up purple here. And then I logged that I had taken a clear blue ovulation test, and it had come back negative. So when I took the test, there was 2 lines on it, but one of the lines was rather faint. So that went on for, I skipped the 31st. On the 1st, I took one, and it was another clear blue, and it was the same result, pretty light, two lines. One, the control line was dark, and then the positive line was very light. I skipped the 2nd. I took one on the 3rd. I took another clear blue, and it came back with the same thing. The 4th, I switched to, because I had run out of tests from the week before. Excuse me a minute. Yuki, get off the counter! Get! My cat likes my counter, and it's very irritating to me. Anyway, she likes it fine, but, you know, she's not supposed to be my counter. So I did with first response on the 4th, because I had to switch what brand I was using. I needed new ones, and they didn't have the clear blue at the store, so I switched to first response. And when I tested that day, it was really weird, and I took 2 tests that day, because I took a clear blue that day because I had 1 clear blue left, and then I took a first response because I had gotten the new pack of first responses. And something that I noticed between the 2 different brands, at least for that time period, is that one of them had like 1 strong line and 1 faint line, and then that was the clear blue that I had been using, and then the first response just showed the control line. That was it. There was no faint line on the other side or anything. So I was a little freaked out at first, but then I just was like, okay, well, obviously my cycle's not going backward. Maybe it's just a difference between brands. It probably is just a difference between brands. So I took another one on the 5th of the first responses. It showed no lines at all. On the 6th, I took another one. And all these used to be green and are now, even in the 6th, is now purple. So, so I took another first response, and it was still no lines. And then on the 7th, I took another one, and still no lines. On the 8th, I took another one, and this is where it started to get mad at me. My Glow period tracker started to become sassy with me. I'm not even kidding you. It started to tell me what's what. So, on the 8th, I was logging my first response fertility, and that it had come back low, and my fucking thing was like, after using oral contraceptives, your cycle may be irregular and may take some time to stabilize again. You may wish to wait until you have had 2 normal periods before starting to use the first response ovulation test kit. Follow the healthcare professional's advice on when it is best to try to become pregnant. First of all, I've already talked to my doctor, and I'm doing exactly what she wants me to be doing for now. Yuki! Stop it! My cat's being an ass. She's always kind of an ass, but being extra assy today. So, yeah. So, first of all, I've already talked to my doctor, and I'm doing exactly what she thinks that I should be doing at this period in time. Second of all, I I will never have a regular period, ever. I have never had one since my period started. I will never have one in the future, and I have never had one in the past. And I don't have one now. So this idea of a regular, like a regulation or it regulating out, that's unrealistic for me, because that's never the way my period has been. And I literally had, when I told a friend about this, she literally was like, well, maybe you should go on birth control to regulate it. And I was like, that kind of defeats the purpose of trying to make a baby. And she's like, you're right. And I said, and I've tried every single birth control out there, and it's not going to regulate my period. It's going to hide it. And then my period's going to come back with a vengeance, because it hates me. Okay. And so I haven't had oral contraception in over 5 years. 5 years. I have not taken any oral contraception. However, about a year ago, I had the Mirena IUD removed, and I didn't have the IUD in for more than a year. Okay, so I had it a year, and then I got it removed, and it's been a year since it's been removed. So I know for a fact that my irregularity of when I'm going to ovulate and when my period happens has absolutely nothing to do with oral contraception or contraception of any kind, because I'm not taking it because my body does not respond well to it, which I would just like to say, unlike a lot of people that don't care, they're just like, oh, if I, oh look, I got pregnant, oh, how'd that happen, I'm so stressed. No, I was actually spent the last 5 years trying to make sure that I could prevent a difficult situation from occurring, since I am a baby that was born into a difficult situation, and I know what it's like to be that person. I don't want my children to experience that. So it's not like I just don't want to take birth control. It's just it never worked for me, and it really is very irritating that it didn't, but my body fought it the whole way. Okay, so now we are on the 9th. So I tell it again. First response fertility, it came back low. Okay. Then we get to the 10th, which is interesting, because on my end, and of course my app doesn't know this because there's nowhere to put it in, and I don't think it really is a particular regulation of how things work. Like, it's not a set in stone way that, or method that is like proven or anything like that. It's just an observation on my part. So on the 10th, I took an ovulation test, a first response, and there were 2 lines, but very, very faint. The second line, very faint. So I put in, I'm not fertile. Like, no LH surge, nothing. Like, I took the test, it said negative. Okay. And then my period says, or my period tracker says, if 2 pink lines appear in the result window and the color intensity of the test line matches or is darker than the reference line, then you have reached your most fertile time and should ovulate within the next 24 to 36 hours. Maximize your chance of becoming pregnant by having intercourse during this time. First of all, thank you, Glow. I know very much what a positive looks like. I've read the instructions because I'm not a savant or an idiot. Or just lacking common sense like a lot of people do. And I was just like, why? I know it's negative. There's like a second line, but it's like barely there. What the fuck? So then on the 11th, I say again, I'm not fertile. And this is where shit gets wonky. Because I put in the test and everything. okay? But my period app, still at this moment in time, on the 13th, even though I put in, like, the 10th I put in negative, the 11th I put in negative, the 12th I put in negative, and even this morning I put in negative. Even though the line is getting progressively darker, it's not at that point where it should be considered positive. So, it's still telling me, first of all, it's telling me that I had a 32.9% chance to conceive on the 11th, which I obviously was not ovulating because when I took the test, it was like barely there. So I know for a fact that I was not experiencing an LH surge. But my app doesn't realize this even though I put it into the app. Now on the 12th, it thinks I ovulated. In fact, when you look at the overall calendar, that was yesterday, it doesn't even say the 12th anymore. It just says OVU for ovulation. But I took a test on that day, and guess what? It was negative. So I know for a fact I didn't ovulate on the 12th. I was not in my fertile window during that week, but I'm heading towards my fertile window. Today is the 13th, and I got a really dark line and then an apparent line. Not one that matches the darkness or is even close to the darkness, but one that is progressively noticeable and is getting darker every day that I take one. So that's kind of like the complaint that I had about this app, is it's just not adjusting. And I even put that today in this app, I put today I didn't ovulate, and it keeps telling me, like, ever so often it'll just pop up like, oh, your fertile window's today, congratulations. And I'm like, no, it's not today. This app and the algorithm it's using isn't working currently because it still thinks I ovulated on the 12th despite the fact I told it I didn't. And on top of that, it keeps throwing sassy remarks at me. I'm kind of upset because, like, I want an accurate depiction of, like, an accurate idea of when I'm going to be ovulating. And I have an idea that I'm heading towards it right now. And I'm doing a pretty good job of at least analyzing the data that I've put in and drawing my own conclusions, because obviously I can tell that sometime this week I'm probably going to ovulate. But my app can't tell that. It can't even predict things right. It's been terrible for prediction, and it's also been inaccurate just in general, even with the information that I've given it. So that's really frustrating. Every month it expects my period to be on the exact same time, even though I have put into the app that I am actually really, really irregular. I literally went 14 weeks without a period, without a cycle. And the tracker just was like, whatever. And the thing so far that irritated me is back at the beginning when I was putting in all these symptoms and stuff like that, for the very first month that I was using this tracker, it didn't tell me at any point, hey, maybe you should take a pregnancy test. It didn't do it. And it was really irritating. Like, I wasn't pregnant, like, I took pregnancy tests, but this thing doesn't even, like, reason. I mean, it's an app, it's programmed what it needs to do, but it doesn't even reason why. Like, it's never even, like, given me, like, oh, hey, looks like you missed your period, or anything like that. Because it's obvious if I've missed my period for 2 months. 2 months. At some point, I expected the app to go, probably should take a test. Just check it out, see what's going on. No, didn't say that at all. And now I'm on this trial run, and I honestly don't think it will suggest to me that I should take a test. I really don't. It's a ridiculous app, and I'm pretty much just using it at this point the same way that I would use a calendar, doing it manually, of just tracking when and how or what's going on. I honestly don't even need an app for that. This app is literally doing nothing but just keeping the information for me, which I could have written on a paper calendar just fine. So, this is really dumb. Very frustrated. I'm not in such a hurry to have a baby right now. Like, because I don't really want a December baby or whatever, but even being relaxed, I'm irritated with this app. And, like, the only good thing about it is the community. I've had to respond a couple times on the community thread because there's times I just don't know what to do or don't understand what's going on. And that's been honestly the most helpful part of the app, but honestly, its tracking algorithm is complete fucking bullshit. So I'm not even going to use it for that process anymore. I'm just going to put things into it, and then I'm going to conclude myself because I have a brain that I can use. That's going to be way more efficient than the algorithm that they came up with. And I think that this just kind of proves that even though most of the time the equation will always equal what it's meant to equal, this just shows that sometimes the equation isn't complete all the way, and it's not going to function in the way intended or expected or desired because math isn't perfect. So that's what I have to say about the Glow period tracker. It's very irritating. And we'll see if, when I conceive, this period app is not going to be something that helped me to conceive. Instead, what it's going to be is something that kept track of my stuff so that I could just look at it and make my own conclusions. This app is not good with its algorithm. It doesn't work. So that's what I thought I would say is very frustrating. I'm very irritated by the app, and I'm irritated that it's freaking still telling me that I ovulated on the 12th. It's now the 13th, and I have a whole week's worth of negative ovulation tests. If I was ovulating, the test would be positive. And then I hear from people sometimes also that, like, maybe it's just calculating. Well, maybe it is, or maybe it just sucks. I think it personally just sucks. I don't think it knows what the fuck's going on. And to be honest, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but at least I can deduce accurately what my body's doing versus an app that literally cannot understand when you've told it that you're not ovulating. That's all I've got to say. Alright, later.